It's 25 minutes after 9 a.m. And we are about to do this so that we can get mutually informed about the things that are happening in and around us. The National Liquor Trading, or the National Liquor Traders, or the NLC, organization, in fact, has called on the government to ensure that it is guided by science, that it has to deal with the Omicron variant COVID-19 without subjecting the country to another lockdown. As the NCCC and Cabinet meet to discuss the implication of the fourth wave and the effects of the Omicron variant on our country, we further call on the government to show leadership and assure the people of this country that the government has a plan of dealing with the variant and managing the fourth wave without subjecting our people to unnecessary lockdowns. The fact that we have to go through 3 waves of COVID-19 already as a country should all really call for all the learnings we took to be in practice and to manage the current fourth wave. The president should already have a script to deal with the outside of the usual knee-jerk reaction to ban alcohol, which has no basis in science and even basic common sense, Ntimane said. Our call for science to guide the president's approach certainly leaves no room for a political science approach. Strictly medical science is what should be considered, and balancing this with an important matter of the livelihoods, he said. The liquor industry is fighting back hard because they see Uguti as soon as what can I say? As soon as one super spreader thingy happens, and then or a new wave comes, let me put it that way, then all of a sudden it becomes a very big problem, and they start to ban liquor. At some point, they banned cigarettes. They banned a whole lot of things. At some point, you couldn't even buy yeast. The COGTA Minister, Nkosazana Dlamini Zuma, has welcomed the Western Cape's High Court judgment dismissing an application brought by the wine body Vinpro to challenge the constitutionality and lawfulness of the nationwide liquor bans imposed by the government. The matter was heard in August. The body represents close to 2,600 South African wine producers, sellers, and industry stakeholders. One of the 3 points argued is that the provinces, not the national government, should decide whether or not to impose liquor restrictions. The body notes that the industry lost more than 10 billion in revenue sales in the various bans. Vinpro's Rico Basson said, Vinpro is extremely disappointed by the Western Cape High Court's ruling. The court refused Vinpro's application to introduce new evidence, found the application has moved as the applications have changed, dismissed the structure of the government argument, and determined that each party should be liable for their own legal costs. But the minister representing the national government argued that the regulations were not aimed at addressing the impact of alcohol on society in general, but were rather aimed at capacitating the health system during trying times. This was because South Africa has a much higher burden of alcohol-related trauma cases than experienced in any other countries. In Johannesburg, the South African Health Products Regulatory Authority has approved a 3rd dose of the Pfizer vaccine. The booster shot will be administered to all over 18s that received 2 doses of the Pfizer vaccine. They will be eligible 6 months after the 2nd dose. Those aged 12 and older with weak immune systems can take a dose 28 days after the 2nd dose. The SAHPRA initially approved the use of the Pfizer vaccine in March this year. In Durban, the quest by smaller parties to play a bigger role in the affairs of eThekwini municipality is gaining ground as they flex their muscle, demanding to be placed in influential portfolio committees. Some of the parties have their eyes on the Human Settlements and Infrastructure Committee, possibly the biggest committee based on its functions and the budget to oversee it. Portfolio committees play an oversight role on the various municipal departments and a supporting role to executive committee. Placement in these committees is largely an administrative function by municipal staff, something these parties have said should rather be negotiated by the parties themselves. The smaller parties are in the pound seats after helping an ANC retain its majority in the council. The ANC lost its tight grip on the KZN Metro after falling below the threshold absolute majority in the local government elections. When the Mercury engaged with some of the smaller parties yesterday, it became clear the coalition amongst themselves with the ANC was tenuous. They claimed that voting with the ANC was a would-be on the matter basis. At the moment, smaller parties are grappling to get a seat in the various committees and not the chair such committees. A bigger fight to sit at the helm of various committees would emerge with the council when they meet. Still in KZN, the Inkatha Freedom Party has changed mayors in the Mhlathuze local municipality. This comes as Dr. Nkonzo Yake Dando, who was elected mayor in the council on the 23rd of November, resigned on Wednesday. Party constituency head in Mhlathuze, Xolani Ngwezi, has now taken over the mayoral position. The party won Mhlathuze from the African National Congress last month through the coalition with other parties. Dando has left office as mayor following his resignation on Wednesday. Ngwezi is now taking over, was not on the PR list at the time. The party's national spokesperson, Mkhuleko Mhlengwa, said Honorable Xolani Ngwezi was approved as mayor as his name was not on the PR list, and because the IEC's rules do not allow for changes during the period of constituting municipal councils. Councillor Nkonzo Yake Donda was approved as caretaker mayor. The party said Dando was informed of this decision before he was elected mayor. The IFP have welcomed the appointment of Ngwezi to the post, saying he was no stranger to local government. The party is set to host a local government political leadership workshop on Thursday. Finally, and further afield in this beautiful continent of Africa, people in Uganda queued up outside the vaccination centers in the capital Kampala on Wednesday, a day after the country confirmed its first cases of the Omicron variant to COVID-19. The virus was detected in 7 travelers from South Africa and Nigeria who arrived at Entebbe Airport and on November 29 are currently in isolation. Those affected were said to display only mild symptoms. The arrival of the new variant has driven some previously vaccine-hesitant Ugandans to get a jab. At the Kampala City Authority mass vaccination, the site, several first-timers reported their first jab, fearing the country would return to scenes witnessed during the second wave of the pandemic. Around 7.6 million doses have been administered in Uganda since the rollout began in early 2020. The confirmation of the Omicron cases in Uganda mean that the new variant has been found in at least 9 African countries. South Africa remains the epicenter of the Omicron outbreak, with experts saying that the overwhelming majority of its thousands of new cases are on the new variant.
We are extraterrestrial. We are KNR.